Hello and welcome to the August 25th, 2021 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting. This is a teleconference meeting with commission members, city staff, and members of the public participating remotely to ensure proper social distancing in this federal, state, and local emergency. At this point, I'm going to call roll. I would like to introduce the staff and commission members present. Commissioners present include myself, Vice Chair Jennifer Baskin, Commissioner Peter Joshua, Commissioner Peter Diepenbrock, Commissioner Mark Bryman, Commissioner Dana Payne. I believe that's from the commission. Is Commissioner David Thomas here, or did I miss you? No, he is not. Okay. Staff present includes Library and Services Director Sean Reinhardt, Assistant Library and Services Director Nick Segeda, Recreation Supervisor Karen Mihalik, Interim Assistant Community Services Director Teresa De La Santa, and also wanted to introduce, since they are on, members from the Chamber of Commerce, Fran Dean and Glenn Rojas. So moving on, Nick is also the staff liaison for the commission. Nick, will you please take a moment and provide instructions to the commission and members of the public in attendance on how the meeting will proceed?
Sure. Commissioners, please, if you would, keep your camera on and your microphone off until you're recognized by the chair. You can raise your hand to be recognized, or use the raise hand function on the Zoom screen. Members of the public, the chair will call for public comment throughout the meeting on various items. If you wish to be recognized and make a public comment, please engage that raise hand feature at that time on your Zoom screen. If you're dialing in, please press *9 on your phone, and that will electronically use that raise hand function.
Excellent. Thank you for giving us some guidance on protocol during these Zoom meetings. So under public comment, the public may address the commission on any subject not listed on the agenda. We would ask that public comments for agenda items be reserved for that item number. Each speaker may address the commission once under public comment for a limit of 3 minutes. Please clearly state your name and address or political jurisdiction in which you live. The commission cannot act on items not listed on the agenda, and therefore the commission cannot respond to non-agenda issues brought up under public comment other than to provide general information. Nick, do we have any public comments at this time for non-agendized items?
I see one hand raised. Is if anyone has a comment to make on an item that's not on the agenda tonight. So a public comment on an item not on the agenda, please use that raise hand function and I can recognize you. And so I see one hand raised, and it is for Moni Santini Kelly. I'm going to unmute you, and you can go ahead and unmute yourself and make your public comment if you'd like at this time.
Hi. I'm Monica Santini Kelly. I go for Moni, and I'm the aerial instructor at the Gymnastics Center at the Arriaga Family Gymnastics. And so this time that the gym was closed really affected my job, but not only, because my clients, my students, the parents of my students and families, and even the adult students, they really were looking forward to come back. So we make a lot of clients, we make happy our clients, and we are very happy with our management. So I really look forward to run my program, my aerial program, back at the Gymnastics Center. And, you know, I am willing to follow protocols. But I would like to know when it is possible to get back to the gym and having setting up and having our, classes running. make sure our clients will all learn, because now at the moment, I have to be honest, I teach outdoor and it's very uncomfortable sometimes. Of course, California helps with the beautiful weather, but it's still not the same thing. I don't know if this counts in this meeting. I really, really appreciate you guys, you let me in. And I hope I cover the topic that you might wanna talk about in this meeting with this agenda. Do you think I was really straightforward? What do you think? I want to know about you guys. Thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your comment.
You're very welcome.
If anyone else would like to make a public comment on an item not on the agenda, please engage that raise hand function now. I will note that we'll be talking about the gymnastics reactivation staff report later in the meeting, and we'll call for we'll call for public comment specifically on that agenda item at that time. So this period of public comment is for comment on items not on the agenda tonight. And I do not see any other public comment.
Fantastic, thank you. So moving on to D1 regular business, you can all see attached to the agenda, so you've had time to review it, the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting minutes for the meeting of July 28, 2021. Nick, do we have any public comment on this item?
If any member of the public would like to make a public comment on the approval of the minutes from last meeting, please raise your hand at this time. Phone dialers can press *9 on their phone. And I see no hands raised on this item.
And does the commission have any edits or changes or comments they have on the minutes? I do not see anyone with any edits. So can I call for a commissioner to make a motion to approve the minutes of the July 28th, 2021 meeting?
I'm happy to make a motion to approve the July 28th, 2021 minutes.
Great, thank you, David. And do I have a second?
Hopefully that was the right date.
That is.
I'll second.
Great, thank you. And Nick, I'll have you take a vote on this.
I'll do a roll call vote since we have some folks who are dialing in and can't see if we raise our hands. So Commissioner Bryman, how do you vote on the approval of the minutes?
I was absent and will abstain.
Commissioner Diepenbrock, how do you vote?
Peter, you're on mute.
You're muted, I'm sorry.
I approve them, yes.
Commissioner Joshua, how do you vote?
I approve.
And Vice Chair Baskin, how do you vote?
Yes, I approve.
Motion passes with Commissioner Bryman abstaining.
Excellent. So
Did
moving
every
on,
commissioner cast a vote?
well, I believe he abstained because he was not at the meeting.
I'm sorry, I might have missed Commissioner Thomas's vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. He made the motion to approve and Commissioner Payne seconded. So I assumed that they were affirmative votes.
Yep.
And Commissioner Payne, how do you vote?
Yes.
We'll make it super clear. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
Okay. So D2 would have been a welcome message from City Council Liaison Mayor Drew Combs. Unfortunately, he was not able to attend this meeting and looks forward to attending a future meeting. Moving on to D3, I would like to reintroduce again Fran Dean and Glenn Rojas from the Menlo Park Chamber of Commerce. They will be presenting on the Chamber's plans for upcoming community and economic developments. And the commission may find these chamber events of interest as we consider city-sponsored holiday events in our future meeting.
Good evening. I'm Frandine, and I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Menlo Park. And thanks so much, both to the commissioners and the staff members. This is a great opportunity to meet with you this evening on the subject of economic development and community events. We're aware that council has requested that this commission provide input and direction on city events. And since the chamber has worked with the city in the past and we share common goals for many of those productions, we'd like to provide background on our events and a snapshot of 2022 planning. Nick, if you could go to the first content slide, please. Perhaps you're aware of the Chamber's community celebrations, but possibly not the history behind it. This first slide provides an overview of our annual events, which are ordered by calendar occurrence. Of the 6 events shown, 5 are open to the public, to the community at no cost to patrons, providing a venue for entertainment, a social gathering, and exposure to our local businesses. As I go down through them, we have Sidewalk Arts, which is not a street closure, but held on the sidewalks of the downtown. It is held in the month of April. It goes Friday through Sunday, and it was initiated in 1983. It is a fundraiser for us, but there is no cost to participate. The Block Party, which was initiated in 2007 by the request of council, again, started in 2007, and it clearly is just a community event. It is not a fundraiser. It is meant for a community gathering. We have at different times had multiple events during the year, June and August, and often one in December. However, we centered on June. Again, we began in 2007. It is held in the downtown. There are street closures. It's a Wednesday evening, so streets close Wednesday at 3 o'clock. The event is 5 o'clock through 8 p.m. There is entertainment, and this was also a great opportunity for the city of Menlo Park to showcase what was going on in the city, whether it's the planning department, the building department, but ultimately all departments participated in this event. So it was a great showcase, not only of downtown businesses, but also the city of Menlo Park. As we went through this, the transition in the last event was that the city would take the lead or the role in that particular event, and we would participate with them in the event, but the city would take the lead. Summerfest, which was known previously as Connoisseurs Marketplace, is our annual Art and Wine Festival. It's held in July. It is Saturday and Sunday, all day, both days. It began in 1987. It is downtown. It does have street closures. There is entertainment, bands, street musicians, artists, exhibitors, and I think many of you are probably familiar with that. And then the October Sidewalk Arts Festival, again, is similar to the April event, but it began in 1997 rather than in 1983. So by 1997, we had 2 Sidewalk Arts events. And then Golden Acorn, the last event, which is not held downtown, is a volunteer recognition event. It is held in a hotel. That's our venue. It was initiated in 1973, and it's usually held on an evening, a Thursday evening in late September or early October. And then, as you note in the bottom of that slide, because of safety measures, all public gatherings were canceled in both 2020 and 2021. And that was COVID safety. We had no outside gatherings. We did hold Golden Acorn this year, but we held it as a virtual event. So we did return to Golden Acorn, which was fabulous. And we hope to continue it as in person in the future. And Nick, if you would go to the next slide, please. As we plan for our next year, it appears that we will postpone the Art and Wine Festival for 1 more year. The current street closures and expanded outdoor use permits extend through January of 2022. So the disposition of those permits is unknown, and we usually enter into contracts in December of the prior year. So therefore, it is very iffy for us. We will probably postpone it for 1 more year. What we are planning for 2022 are 4 events. Golden Acorn, again, the recognition event, a speaker series, which you see as the last one, which would be suggested as a quarterly occurrence held in the evening. And we will collaborate with potentially a nonprofit on that. And it is informational in nature. That's the purpose of it. And again, the Golden Acorn continues with that purpose being recognition. And I'll give a little more information about the 2 downtown events, and that's on the next slide, Nick. So Celebrate Menlo, we are looking at that as a spring event to celebrate the reopening of Menlo Park, and the purpose will be to promote, to support the downtown businesses, and obviously for economic development. We want to bring people downtown again. We see this as having a street closure. It will be a short event. I would call it similar to a block party, but in the spring. There'll be food, beverages, music, and a special feature that would be determined at a later date. Again, this is our planning for next year. And then we look at fall. We'd like to bookend spring and fall with some kind of an event downtown. It would be, I would call it a small business holiday launch. We start off with Small Business Saturday, usually the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I'm looking at that event in that time frame, again, to showcase small businesses. It will be featured as a half-day event. It could be on a weekend, it could be during the week, TBD. I would suspect it may be on a weekend, but again, it will be similar to the Celebrate Menlo, but there would not be street closures for that event. What we do ask that the city consider is collaboration. We've collaborated with you in the past. We've also worked with events on as side-by-side partners on events, but what we would like you to evaluate and hopefully request of council would be collaborating with us on things like permitting, public works for street closures, security, security meaning police patrol, which is normally aligned with the downtown, aligned with the event. Also, we would be open to any other things that you might, that public work, that Park and Rec might request or might suggest in terms of ways that we can do things together. But minimally, what we are asking that you look toward collaboration in the area of permitting, public works, meaning street closures, and security. We are working on an event that will be a pilot event for this particular year, this fall. And right now I'm working with planning on that permitting process. So that's a TBD. If the pilot is successful, then it will potentially be one of the 2022 community events going forward. And then with that, that is really the subject that I would like to bring to you, the comments that we have. And if you have comments or questions of me, that would be great, or things that you would like me to bring back to our board, suggesting direction, that would be fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I believe at this point, do we have any public comments, Nick, on this section, on this agenda item?
Any member of the public would like to make a comment on the presentation or on this item, please engage that raise hand feature on your Zoom screen now. If you're a dial-in listener, press *9 on your phone to engage that raise hand. And I see no public comment on this item.
Thank you. So let's open it up to some comments and discussion. Again, Fran, thank you very much for the presentation. We're really excited to see what's ahead of us. And I see Mark has his hand raised. Would love to hear some of your comments.
Thanks, Jennifer. Fran, thanks so much for the presentation. Much appreciated. I was intrigued, well, by all of it, but in particular, the speaker series I noticed that the location was to be determined. What do you guys have in mind for that? Again, it'd be nice if it were something that were accessible for the community. And I don't know I forget what time of year or when it's happening, but I was just wondering if there was a location that you guys had in mind.
So just point of order to the chair. Can I answer questions or what are we doing here?
Yeah, you can answer questions, Fran.
Okay.
If a commissioner has a question, just it's fine.
Okay, that's fine. So Mark, thanks very much. This is something that we have been an idea that we've been entertaining for some time. When I say TBD, we do not know what the location is. It may be an in-person event. It may start off as a Zoom event. It definitely would be open to the public. It may be open to the public at no charge. It may be open to the public at a nominal fee. We really don't know. We are talking to one particular nonprofit to see if they would like to partner with us on that. We believe that it would have any increased value if we were to find a partner to work with on the speaker series. But really, I can't give you any more information, not because I don't want to, but because we're really in the embryonic stages of planning this. And it would be something that's probably quarterly. Certainly, it would not be recurring any more frequently than every other month. And I suspect it would be an evening type thing.
Thanks.
Do any of the other commissioners have a question on the presentation? Well, we really appreciate you joining us and informing us, and we're really looking forward to reactivation and being out there in the community and participating. So thank you, and always please, we're excited to liaise with you and get involved on any of these items that pertain to us too.
Well, thanks very much for your comments and also for the opportunity to give you a bit of a preview of what we plan for next year.
Thank you again. So moving on to item D4, this is the gymnastics program reactivation. There's an attached staff report you will have been able to have perused ahead of time, and we'll have a presentation on this item. The presenters are Recreation Supervisor Karen Mihalik and Interim Assistant Community Services Director Teresa De La Santa.
Yes, and Madam Chair, if I may, just a couple of introductory comments, just to provide a little context here for this presentation this evening. As the Commission will recall, the City Council in the process of developing the current fiscal year operating budget. This was during the spring, culminating with the City Council adopting the current year's fiscal year budget in June of this year, gave direction to the staff to develop a proposal for reactivating the gymnastics program with city personnel, and to bring that back for the City Council's consideration at the earliest opportunity in the new fiscal year. And so at this point in time, that is tentatively calendared to go to the City Council on September 14th. And I think Karen and Teresa will go in some more detail about what that will entail. Furthermore, the City Council asked for the Parks and Recreation Commission to provide any input. Obviously, this is in an area of the Parks and Recreation Commission's kind of advisory capacity to the City Council. So that's this item's here before you tonight, really for you to review and provide some comment in preparation for taking this item to the City Council for their review and ultimately some form of direction or possibly approval or a different direction on September 14th. So no action is being requested of the Parks and Recreation Commission tonight, but that review and comment and advice for the City Council. So with that, I'll turn it over to our amazing staff, our interim Assistant Community Services Director, Teresa De La Santa, and our amazing Recreation Coordinator, Karen Mihalik. Please take it away.
Yes, thank you, Sean, and good evening, Park and Recreation Commission members. Thank you for having us and for allowing us this opportunity to provide you information on this proposal that we're going to be presenting to City Council for reopening the gymnastics program. So I'll be co-presenting with Karen Mihalek, who many of you know is our recreation coordinator for gymnastics. We can go to the next slide, please. So on our agenda tonight, we'll review COVID-19 impacts to the program, the gymnastics program and preparation for reactivating, and then discuss our proposed plan for a phased-in timeline for reactivating the program, and then additionally the staff needed for the program. And next slide, please. So jumping right into the COVID-19 impact slide. As you all know, the city-owned facilities were closed to indoor public access back on March 12th of 2020, and that was because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And this was necessary to protect public health and reduce opportunities to gather. So the gymnastics program was significantly impacted by that closure because the gymnastics center was completely shut down and the city eliminated all gymnastics staff positions, which was a total of 5.75 full-time benefited employees, and then approximately 40 temporary and seasonal staff. But of course, with the vaccines, we are now in a position to be talking about reopening to the public, and that's why we're here to present to you tonight. So next slide, please, and then I will hand that to Karen to discuss the program and preparations.
Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to speak to you about the gymnastics program. We really are looking forward to giving you a little bit of background. So next slide, please. So what we'd like to talk to you a little bit tonight is about our gymnastics programming. Sorry about that. My daughter's a veterinarian. She brings home every dog known to man. Anyway, so I'd like to talk to you about our youth toddlers and our special needs programming. And the thing I'd like to say first off about our program is it is a community program. It's a community gymnastics program, and that makes us a little bit different because we try and keep our costs down and we try and make everything as available to all the community members as possible and offer a wide variety. The caregiver classes give parents who are new to the area an opportunity to meet other community members. It also is great for grandparents who bring their kids in and have a good time participating in activity with them. And it makes friends. So a lot of our parents who have been at the gym have made friends and they hang out, and that's a good community builder. Our classes also offer a good opportunity for a fun activity for kids to try. And the skills you learn in gymnastics actually build on the other program. They help you with the other sports that the children participate in. Our competitive program and our adults, our competitive program is a little bit different as well. Our kids do not work out as many hours as many of the other clubs. And we do less meets than normal. And the reason is we try and keep all of our expenditures down. So our kids, we usually pick a very reasonable leotard. A competitive leotard can run over $200. So we try very hard to keep ours at about $75 and let our leotards and their whole uniform last for at least 2 years. The adult, so we're going to be doing a strength and conditioning class, which is not only for our gymnasts to try and get them back into shape, but also a great place for the adults to come and get a little bit of strength work along with some stretching and conditioning. So that's good as well. On the weekends, we usually run our full scope of Saturday classes. We open at 9. The staff works straight through until 5 o'clock in the evening, and we offer the preschool classes as well as the older children. And Moni, who spoke earlier, usually runs her silks classes also on Saturday, so that everybody has an opportunity. A lot of times people can't get out during the week because they're working so much. On Sundays, that's historically when we've run our birthday parties. And again, we run those. It's generally an hour in the gym where the kids do activities with the staff, and then an hour where they have cake and do birthday birthday presents and games and those type of things. We're hoping again to bring that back, but not in the first opening. Our first portion, then we're trying to focus mainly on bringing back in the younger children and the conditioning classes. Next slide, please. So our youth and our special needs. The special needs population is near and dear to our heart. I must say that the permanent staff is very, very dedicated to the special needs population in our area. We are one of the few gyms, again, that does most of our work by trying to, what we want to do is we want to incorporate the children in our normal classes. So I'm looking for the word that I can't even come to, but anyway, the kids are all together with the regular kids, which provides them with real good role modeling. It also provides great community because it teaches the children that some people are different and we all get along and we all work together. And that's an important part of community building. Many occupational therapists and physical therapists send the children to us specifically to practice their skills. And again, our staff is remarkable and works really hard to make all the children the same and give everybody the same opportunity and help these children along the way. We also do our, we offer a tactile, I think I need to go to the next slide, but I can't quite remember. Nick? Well, let me talk about I'm sorry. Let me go back to our sensory class, which is also a class that's offered not only for the special needs kids, but also for the, lack of a better term, the regular kids. And it offers them the opportunity to be able to work with messy things that parents may not allow them to. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the programming.
Thank you, Karen. Sorry, on the next slide. So reactivation and phasing in. Thank you, Nick. So as you all know, the COVID-19 vaccines have allowed staff to plan for reopening of services to indoor public access. So staff took a cautious approach to reopening by proposing a phased in timeline, mostly because of concerns about the Delta variant and the increase in COVID-19 cases recently. But in addition to that, and as previously mentioned, all the gymnastics staff positions were eliminated from the 2020-21 operating budget. And so the process of recruiting, hiring, and onboarding that staff can take several months. And so for these reasons, and at City Council's direction, staff has prepared a proposed plan and timeline that includes a phased approach for reopening the gymnastics program. And we'll hand it back to Karen because she's going to go over that proposal on slide 10. So next slide, please. And you're muted, Karen.
I'm sorry, I forgot I muted myself. Anyway, as you can see, in November, we're hoping to reopen the gym. We will be opening with those of us who were fortunate enough to stay with the city and bump to another position. We will be working Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. During that time, we will be offering a different way. So we tried to bring it in to offer as many classes as we possibly could. We'll be offering classes for the MCC children because I feel it's important for us to try and involve the entire, to offer our services to other departments within our department or other parts of us, because it's good for the children. The bottom line is it's just good for the children to have other things to do and to experience it. We'll be focusing also on the special needs by bringing back our sensory classes. And we're going to try and open up a special needs time. And I'm trying 3 different time slots in hopes that the parents will be able to bring the kids in, because a lot of times they spend a lot of time in school and in physical therapy. In January, we're hoping
Karen, do you mind, before you move on, you used an acronym there, MCC children.
Menlo Children's Center, sorry.
No problem. Just want to make sure folks got that. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the Menlo Children's Center. So in the past, we also had offered classes to the children at the child care center. it's just kind of a nice break for them to have a little extra class to do. In January, we're going to hopefully bring back our competitive team and the adult classes. And then in the spring, we want to go back to our 7-day-a-week operation, which means our birthday parties will be back full swing on Sundays, and our Saturday classes again will be opened up from 9 to 5. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on here to personnel capacity. Next slide. So this slide kind of speaks for itself. So to safely reactivate the program, we're recommending to City Council that they authorize 5.75 full-time employees, which would be regular benefited employees, and expenditures for temporary and seasonal staff. So that would consist of one recreation coordinator, which is Karen, and she would coordinate and oversee the gymnastics center. 2 program assistants. One would provide administrative support, the other would provide program support and teach classes. And then an additional 2.75 gymnastics instructors, and they would be teaching classes. Next slide. And it's just a quick summary of the operating revenues and expenditures. City staff is planning to propose to City Council next month that we use the fiscal year 2018-19 and the fiscal year 2019-20 operating budgets as actuals for primary reference points. Can't talk tonight. And then we're going to factor in partial year operations with the phased in timeline, since we're going to be opening in November, and then revenue projections that reflect the uncertainty of the impacts from the pandemic that'll have on program attendance. And next slide. So our last slide here is the next steps is we'll go to City Council and seek their direction, tentatively scheduled for September 14th. And then we'll discuss personnel capacity, maintenance needs such as air filter replacement, signage, steam cleaning the center, and then repairs and replacement of the equipment. And then of course, there's always evolving COVID-19 protocols. So we'll make sure that we have the most up-to-date protocols at that time. And that concludes our presentation. So thank you all, and we'll be here for questions as well.
Thank you very much. We are very excited to hear about gymnastics reactivation. It's a really special program of Menlo Park, and I know all of us have utilized it or heard about it in some way, shape, or form here. Before the commission is able to ask any questions, I do believe we may have some public comments. So Nick, do we have any public comment on this item?
At this point, if you'd like to make a public comment on this item, please engage that raise hand feature on your Zoom screen, or if you are a dial-in person, press *9. I'll let the chair know that we also received a public comment by email, which I can read into the record at the end of the live public comment period. Our first public commenter is Asia Dubarenka. Asia, I'm going to ask you to unmute. You can go ahead and unmute yourself and make your public comment.
Hello, yes, my name is Asia Dubarenka, and I used to be one of the aerial silks instructors at the Menlo Park Arilaga Family Gymnastics Center back when the center was operating, and I'm here to advocate for reopening the possibility to provide the aerial arts services and program for community members, because for this past year, of course, like it was COVID, we couldn't teach children that much, but as soon as we were allowed to accept students at a different facility, a lot of people from Menlo Park were very interested in even in coming to San Jose to take classes, to take aerial silks classes, because they couldn't find any other possibility to do that anywhere close to Menlo Park. So I have currently 3 students who are residents of Menlo Park, and some of them are unincorporated residents as well. and they are all taking classes in San Jose in a different facility where I teach as a contractor, where I provide my services, just precisely how I was doing it for the Menlo Park, the city of Menlo Park before. And I believe, and from the conversations with my colleagues, like Moni Santini-Kelly, who is actually the founder of aerial arts program in Arrillaga Family Gymnastics Center, and with Sue Home, who also used to teach there, that there are a lot more people who would like to have the services, the aerial silks program and aerial arts program return to Arrillaga Family Gymnastics Center as soon as possible. So I'm just here to advocate for reopening of the center as soon as possible, and also for reopening of the program. And from my point of view, we can assure that we can provide safe services for the children and even for the adults who used to take the program. We have enough silk sets, and we know the precautions already on how to provide safer services for our kids and for the adults that used to take our classes. So that's basically my comment. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Our next commenter is Maria Menendez. Maria, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and make your public comment to the commission.
Hi, my name is Maria. I'm from Spain, but we moved here 8 years ago. Since there, we have been enrolling our kids in gymnastics. And 3 years ago, I enrolled in the trapeze class, so with the aerial. So I was wondering, when is your plan to open that program? Because I think that they need a lot of equipment, and the place that we have there was amazing, and we have a really good community of aerial, and I would love to see it back. And I mean, all the classes were like a small size, so I think like we can do a great job using all the COVID stuff. And I'm an adult, so I was taking the class like an adult. So I think like we can bring back kids and adults if possible, as soon as possible. We would really appreciate any of your efforts on that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment, Maria. Our next public commenter is Michael Taylor. Michael, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and make your comment to the commission.
Thanks, Nick. Good evening, Park and Rec commissioners. Hi, Karen. My name is Michael Taylor. I live at 180 Seminary Drive. I've lived in Menlo Park for almost 30 years. Thank you for the opportunity to speak, and thank you, commissioners, for your service to the community. First of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a USA Gymnastics national instructor, and I have been since 1984. USA Gymnastics is the national governing body for the sport. I've been all over the country teaching safety and technique classes, conducting seminars and clinics for coaches, teachers, parents, and running camps and events for athletes. I served as an expert witness in over 100 legal cases and lawsuits. Gymnastics is the foundational basis for all movement and sport activities. It is crucial for children to have access to a professional, quality developmental program. If you need more information on my credentials and my qualifications, feel free to check out my website at gym.net. The point is, I know gymnastics. More importantly, I know Menlo Park. My two youngest children went through the Menlo Park school system. They participated in many of the recreation programs offered in Menlo Park, including dance, martial arts, AYSO, Little League, swimming, gymnastics. I also worked for the city for 17 years, including many years running the gymnastics program. When I arrived in 1991, there were about 200 students in the program. In a few short years, my staff and I grew the program to over 1,700 participants. I left the city in 2007 and went to work for the city of Saratoga, a community of about 33,000 people, very similar to Menlo Park, where I ran the Recreation and Facilities Department and the Risk and Emergency Management Program. I retired a few years ago, and I understand municipal government. I am here to encourage the commission to not recommend reinstating the city-operated gymnastics program. As a taxpayer, I consider the additional cost to the city to be exorbitant and totally unnecessary. It is crucial that a city the size of Menlo Park provide a high-quality gymnastics program for youth, but there are many ways to accomplish this. I'm going to ask the chair if I may extend my time a little bit. I've got about another minute and a half to speak.
I'm sorry, someone else, I believe someone else could yield time to you if needed.
Anybody willing to yield a couple of minutes?
If anyone wants to yield a couple of minutes, you can just raise your hand. Nancy Wagner, do you want to yield a couple of minutes? You can unmute yourself and respond.
Yes, I'd like to give Mike my time, please.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. There are many ways to accomplish conducting a program. City-run program is only one. In 2006, after the Burgess swimming pool had been closed for renovation, as the interim community services director at the time, I recommended the city council contract out the aquatics program to an outside provider for an immediate cost savings to the city of about $1.3 million. We avoided the need for recruiting and hiring lifeguards, pool managers, desk staff, and providing trainings. We transferred that responsibility to Tim Sheeper, an independent contractor who, to my knowledge, has done an outstanding job of providing a safe, comprehensive program for the city. That contract arrangement remains to this day and continues to be a successful program. It is an excellent example and model of what I recommend. If the commission endorses a similar arrangement for the gymnastics program, an independent contractor can provide a quality service without burdening the city with an additional 5 3/4 full-time equivalent staff. I encourage you to talk to the finance department about the true cost of employees, especially other post-employment benefits, the OPEB packages, and the ongoing financial burdens those place on the city. There's no need to add additional employees to the city that can contract out the program, receive better staffing without additional costs, save money for the taxpayers. There are many examples of outsourcing. I know that the circus arts, the aerial arts, the silks program in the gymnastics center is a contract program. When I ran the recreation department in city of Saratoga, we offered over 220 classes, camps, and activities by using 61 independent contractors for everything from dance to soccer, swimming, and childcare. We provided quality services to the residents of Saratoga using 2 staff. This is a golden opportunity for council to do the right thing. SEIU may have concerns, but the gymnastics positions are currently vacant, and any previous members would have an opportunity to retain their bump status or apply for new positions. The city could prepare an agreement that is financially beneficial to the city and would ensure the program meets the standards it deems appropriate for a comprehensive quality gymnastics program. I do not recommend reinstating a city-run gymnastics program. This is just a golden opportunity. So I suggest the commission recommend to council that the city prepare an RFP to find a professional, independent contractor that can provide the service, reduce liabilities, and provide the program the city deserves. That concludes my comments, but I am available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, Mr. Taylor. Our next public commenter is Annemarie. Annemarie, if you could unmute yourself, you can make your comments to the commission.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Annemarie, could you tell me your last name for the
My
minutes,
name,
please?
yeah, I'm sorry, Annemarie Schar, S-C-H-A-R, and I am a Menlo Park resident. currently living in downtown Menlo Park. I've also lived in the Willows. I also work in Menlo Park. My daughter, who is 14, has participated in gymnastics and aerial silks since she was 2. My daughter also took swim classes through Burgess. And as a matter of fact, beginning when she was 1, with mommy and me over in Bellhaven, actually, but through the city. And I can't speak to Mr. Taylor's points. However, what I would say is that as a student myself of the aerial silks, having experienced gymnastics and silks through the city since my daughter was 7, as I said, I would urge the council not to do anything that would endanger the jobs of those people who have been running the program successfully for the last at least 7+ years that we've been involved. When we talk about a private company, again, there are many vendors. I know that our own silks people are contractors, but as to the pool, we actually quit swimming after the pool went private. We had actually a number of difficulties with it. That's a personal thing that happened, anecdotal. I know that other people have been very successful there. We actually ended up withdrawing our daughter because there were just difficulties with a lot of things. But what I'm urging you to do is make sure that you keep the gymnastics program, that you keep the aerial silks program, and you keep the people who really care about the children, the adults, and the people who are involved in these programs. I think that would be the most important point, but that you keep the programs overall. And my greatest fear is that these programs will go away or not really be available to the public as they have been. These are very popular programs, and there are a lot of local residents involved. So I just urge you to really think when you look at your options and really look at the people involved. And thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your comment. Does anyone else in attendance tonight want to make a public comment on this item? Please use that raise hand function. Seeing none there, I'm going to try to pull up the emailed public comment that we received. And read that in. Bear with me just a moment here. Here it is. To the Menlo Park Parks and Recreation Commission, my name is Pamela Evans, and I have owned Gold Star Gymnastics, formerly of Mountain View, relocated to Sunnyvale since 2001. In these turbulent times, I am writing to offer a proposal. If the city of Menlo Park is considering contracting a third party to manage the gymnastics program, I would be interested in discussing this possibility. Menlo Park Gymnastics has been a mainstay in our area for decades, and we would like to assist in whatever way possible to make sure that the program continues. We are uniquely suited to such an arrangement. Over the years, Gold Star and Menlo Park Gymnastics have similar philosophies and have shared many staff members. Like Menlo Park, Gold Star strives to structure a curriculum for all students, from those who simply feel that their lives will be enriched by learning cartwheels to those who want to test their skills on a competitive stage. We offer high-quality instruction in an inclusive, supportive, and safe environment. We are committed to providing the same caring and attentive training for our coaches. Our extensive staff development assures that all of our teachers feel confident when leading their own classes, which translates directly to the children feeling successful while participating in these classes. We employed more than 30 full-time and 90 part-time staff. Our company operates in a 20,000 square foot building with 18,000 square feet dedicated to the gym area. In the fall of 2019, we had an average of 3,000 students attending per week, in non-competitive classes for all skill levels, including parent and taught, preschool and school-age gymnastics classes, rhythmic gymnastics, cheer, and ninja. Our competitive program consists of boys and girls competitive gymnastics teams and all-star competitive cheer teams. Throughout the year, we also offer school holiday camps, birthday parties, and kids' night out parties. We reopened summer camps and teams in June 2020 and added classes in July 2020. Over the last year, we have constructed the safest possible environment for our students. Below are just some of the procedures that were implemented. I will not enumerate all of those in the consideration of time, but they will be entered into the record. If such an opportunity arises to bring in a third party to take over the gymnastics program, I sincerely hope that you will consider us. Sincerely, Pamela Evans, PhD. One more call for any more public comment on this item before we bring it back up to the commission for questions and discussion. Please use that raise hand function now. And seeing none, I turn it back over to you, Vice Chair Baskin.
Thank you, and thanks very much. Great to see you again, Karen. It's been some time, and we really appreciate this this presentation. I guess my one clarifying question is that in regards to your schedule, I understand you're planning the need. We're trying to be a little bit more equitable in planning for this sort of part of the community that needs it in a priority way. Are there any, I guess, what are the next steps we view here in terms of really reactivating? Are they the types of classes that need to be thought through, or are we bringing back a lot of the ones that existed? Are we thinking about timing and dates and staffing? I guess that's a lot of questions in one, but really what's kind of the next step from all this so we could start to think about that?
So what our plan is, well, so of course we're working on it. You know, for us, it's like it's starting over. So there's a little bit of trying to figure it out. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to offer as many different kinds of classes as possible for the community. So the hope was to bring in the silks, and they'll come in the evening because that's when the greatest demand for them is. And also when they are in, that section of the gym can't be used by anybody else. So we're hoping to bring in the little kids programming in the morning along with some special needs programming, because I feel like I need to figure out when we can best access them. So really what we're doing is we're coming in and we're offering 3 classes in the morning, and then we're offering another 5 in the afternoon. So we're teaching for 8 hours because I like to put 2 teachers on a class just in case something happens, like a kid has a potty accident. One of us can clean up that and the other one can stay with the class and keep it going. Mm-hmm. So that's one of our safety issues. We also are, you know, you have to put in the cleaning protocol with COVID, but yeah. So one of the things that we did consider was opening later on Tuesday and Thursday evenings so that we could have more time in the evening for like the silks and the adults and the bigger kids, because really only offering from 4 to 5 or 4 to 6 only gives you 2 hours worth of time to do programming. So right now with the staff we have, that would be 4 classes. Yeah, 4 classes in the evening.
Understood. Do any other commission members have questions for Teresa or Karen? See, we have a couple of hands here. Commissioner Joshua.
Okay, I've got some questions for Karen and also some questions for staff. So my first question is, what ages are you planning on bringing back in November? You speak about children. I take a look at the different classes, the different age groups for those classes. And then you have adults coming in January. So I just want to understand where that delineation is.
Right, I understand that. So the plan was to bring in the little kids, the walking, all the way up up until the 5-year-olds, which is the preschool portion. And then we were bringing in the 5 to the older children in the evening. And the older children are usually the teenagers. Because that group doesn't use the area where the silks hang, I was hoping that we might be able to bring in some silks classes at the same time. So that's.
When will you have it clearly defined?
As soon as I get approval for funding.
Okay, understood. Of the full-time staff that you had originally, how many were repurposed within the city? In other words, what resources do you have available right now?
All 4 of us.
Okay, so that means that the additional staffing that you would need would be the seasonal staffing. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
That's what you have to bring back. The next question I have is probably more directed to staff. In the report, there were 2 attachments, attachment B and attachment C, that spoke to the revenues and expenditures. One thing I noticed is that revenues were constantly decreasing while expenditures remained constant over the last 3 to 4 years. Can you comment on that? Or first of all, am I reading that correctly? And can you speak to that?
Karen might be able to fill in a little bit more detail about that, but some of that is related to the truncated year in fiscal year 1920 in particular due to COVID, but Karen can offer a little more detail.
So in 1920, when we had to close down the program due to COVID, what we did was we refunded everybody all their money. So that was a substantial hit, for lack of a better way to put it. And the biggest times that summer historically in a recreation department is the time of year where you make most of your funds. For gymnastics, it's historically our period of time where we make the least amount of money. So that's part of the 1920 fiscal year problem, was that the summer is our lowest period of time. Then we opened up in September. So we only had from September through December to make money. And then we refunded everybody from the beginning of March. So that's part of the reason why we took a hit. We still had to pay our insurance costs, which we do. Our insurance is a reimbursable account. However, when we closed the program and refunded everybody, we weren't able to keep their insurance money. So we also had to pay for the insurance for the club. And that's over $50,000 a year. I'm sorry.
Actually, the point that I was trying to make is that if I take a look at the revenues, and I'm looking back to 2016, 2017, and looking all the way forward to 2019, 2020, I see a decrease in revenue where the expenditures are pretty much constant through that same period.
Yes.
Yeah, and I can weigh in on that a little bit. There are 2 links there, and so certainly the other to consider there are the expenditures. And so just one thing I would point out that in those past years, in generally speaking, the program's revenues have exceeded the expenditures, even in those years where year over year on revenues they may have declined, it still remained in excess of the expenditures. And that's been pretty historically accurate for the program. So I'm kind of thinking you might be getting a little bit at that point. So I wanted to call that out. But I'm sorry, Karen, I know you were going to add a little detail there.
Is there a reason for the decrease in revenue?
Part of the reason we had a decrease in revenue was because of a decrease in staff. So we did a very large business with birthday parties, and our birthday parties we stopped offering 2 years ago due to the fact that we could not keep I couldn't keep a full birthday party staff, so it became very unstable. So it was difficult to offer something without having a stable staff available on Sundays.
I'd just like to make just one final comment, and just speaking to some of the comments that we heard from the public. I would continue to support and would like to see the program remain in place, because simply because of the special needs that are being met by the community. And I think that is a unique thing that in a public setting that we do need to address, which I do not believe is addressed as effectively in a private environment. And for that reason, I think I would continue to support a program run by the city. Thank you.
Commissioner Bryman?
Thank you. I was very intrigued by some of the public comments, and I'm wondering, both Teresa and Karen, what your take on that third party is. Commissioner Joshua brought up something important, and I was thinking about it as well. What if we were to cherry pick? We seem to have some third party representation now, correct? The Silks are, right, we hire them out. What is your take on, for example, if we could concentrate specifically as the city on special needs and other things that were very important to us, but that we could actually hire out for other programs that may actually save us in money? And I'm wondering, again, without stepping on any toes or not, rehiring people or what have you, if those of you at the core of this were concentrated on sort of specifics, and I was kind of wondering your take on that, because it seems to me that it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. I can respond to that. Great question. So us as staff, we take our direction from City Council, and the direction that the City Council provided to us back in June was to reopen using the staff and not look at any contracting out. So we have not had those discussions internally, and we have not explored those options.
And do you not feel comfortable suggesting what your feeling about it is?
I don't think I've explored it or probably know enough to provide that comment at this time.
And what has your experience been with the contracted situation that you have now with the Silks?
Perhaps Karen can speak to that.
So the contractors are just that, they're contractors, and we have a 60-40 agreement with them. They have to provide the guidelines, and they have parameters that they have to fit in. So they basically come in, and all they offer is that one thing that they're doing. So so they come in and they offer their silks. So they come in, they offer their silks, they have their specific time, they get the gym, and that's how that works. I think that answers your question, but I'm not certain.
No, I understand that that's what the Silks do, but what I'm suggesting or asking overall is, what if there were more than one contracted out, and we were to cover ourselves in various areas with these third parties, and maybe it's one, I don't know, but that we still could offer sort of important programming that was in a way sort of, well, special needs, for example. I think it's very important that we as a city are not just letting someone else handle that, right? When it comes to gymnastics, I'm not sure that Menlo Park needs 4 gymnastics instructors on staff. And so I'm just trying to figure out sort of what makes sense. Managing it is one thing. That's what you guys do. Actually, teaching the classes is another thing.
Commissioner Bryman, I'll chime in on that. Thank you for all those comments. And I think just to kind of get at, I think the question that really you're asking is that within the realm of possibility, what is staff's take on a model that might be like that? Even implied was, is there precedent for it? And you mentioned the Silks. And so I would say, similar to Ms. De Los Santos' comments, should City Council so direct for us to go in that direction and bring back options for that, then certainly staff would carry that out. And part of the function of the Parks and Recreation Commission, which you're all performing quite well tonight, actually is to raise any questions such as this for the City Council to consider. So when this item does go to the City Council on September 14th, absolutely there'll be a report out on the discussion here so that the City Council can take all of those considerations into account as they do their deliberations. So I hope that's helpful to kind of get at, I think, your very good points and questions that you've raised.
Well, that's exactly my point, Sean. Thank you for bringing it up.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other comments? Peter.
Well, I was just kind of curious. I mean, I'm not that familiar with, my son actually did the gymnastics program, but Mr. Taylor in the public comment, he made a lot of claims. I'm just curious. I'm just wondering if we can discuss what he had to say. I mean, is it true that we would save the city a ton of money if we contracted it out? And what Commissioner Peter Joshua said, is that true what he said, that if we did contract it out, that the company that we could potentially hire wouldn't address special needs? Is that a fact? I mean, seems to me there's a lot to discuss here on a pretty big decision. I mean, he sounded like a very experienced gymnastics person, and I would just like to discuss all the things that he said to find out what's true. I mean, I don't know who can answer that question.
Commissioner, I'll take a stab at it, which is that that certainly would require some analysis into the question appropriate to the year 2021. What are current conditions, what's actually happening out there as far as costs and internally. And that wasn't the direction that we were given by the City Council leading up to this item. Should the City Council give us the direction to undertake an analysis of that nature, we certainly would. The quality of special needs programming to some extent is subjective, but there are objective criteria that can be brought to bear to really kind of get at that other question that you've asked, is there a difference, or would there be a difference in quality? So, rather than speak off the cuff to it, I think, if we are directed to undertake that work, then that's what we would do.
I guess also, I mean, to me, the very simple question that I would have is, what is there, again, I'm not familiar with it. So is there just like in, Karen or Teresa, maybe this is a question for you, but is there something is there just an obvious answer to, yes, we would need to, we need to have 5 people on staff for the gymnastics program because of this, and this, as opposed to contracting it out? I guess that's kind of the question that jumps out to me. I mean, is there just an obvious thing that I, not being familiar with it, that I don't understand?
If I may, that also a great question and observation. And now with hindsight, I see that wasn't really highlighted in the presentation, which is why this number of personnel. And really that's from the premise that restoring the program to the levels, the service capacity that existed before the pandemic was sort of the general direction, of what to bring forward. So that's really kind of the reason why that particular number, that particular capacity. But what was presented tonight, also reflects the need to phase it in because of the disruption that occurred due to COVID, but ultimately with the goal of restoring to that previous capacity. So that's why that number.
Yeah, but that doesn't really answer my question. My question was, and again, I don't know, Karen or Teresa, if you can answer this, but and again, I'm not vying for any one way or the other, but I'm just curious, what are the advantages of having 5 people on staff as opposed to contracting it out? That's the question I have. What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? Can we talk about that?
It's certainly possible to talk about it. However, again, staff really had not been given direction to analyze that to the extent that I think would provide like the level of detail and satisfaction in the response, or our confidence that, we've got the homework done to really speak to it under current conditions. It's a valid question, but that wasn't the direction we were given to bring forward. So we haven't undertaken that work as of yet.
So Karen and Teresa, there's nothing you want to say about this?
You know what, I was going to say exactly what Sean just said. We have not done that analysis, so it's very difficult to answer these questions. But I do know, I've only been with the city for 2 years, and I've only known Karen for that long. But I know that Karen and Nikolai and plenty of the other gymnastics instructors have been around for a very long time. Their heart is in it. They love the program, and they really enjoy all of the families and the kids that come to the gymnastics center. So I think what sets us apart is the fact that the staff is very much into the program.
Well, that's an answer right there. I mean, there's a lot in that answer. One is that, the 5 people that we would be hiring, or that you'd be hiring, I mean, it wouldn't be 5 new people. It would be bringing back people that had the positions before. And the other answer that I got from that is that, it's something that needs to be looked into to be able to differentiate between the two. And that's an answer, that's definitely an answer. Yeah.
And then, and just to add to it too, many of those staff members, were laid off and chose to continue in temporary jobs, lower paying jobs, non-benefited, just in hopes that this center would be reactivated and that they would have their jobs back.
Well, that's a pretty key piece of information too, obviously. Okay, so that's good to know. Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions or comments?
Excuse me. I just wanted to, I don't have any extensive knowledge or background in the difference between something that is, an offering through the city or through a third party. Excuse me. But I just want to ask for clarifying purposes. Aren't we basically saying that programs that are offered through the city, like gymnastics, are something that we've decided is important enough that we're essentially subsidizing it, right, for the residents? Wouldn't one of the major differences be that the price of classes would increase if we were to transition this program out to a contracting company? I think that's, I wasn't a part of the decision, obviously, to include gymnastics in that. And maybe that is something that we want to discuss, like what programs are important enough that we want to subsidize as a city. But I think that is kind of the major thing that we heard also with our last meeting, I believe last month, where some of the public came and spoke about how the prices for the pool, even just to use that, sort of like an open swim or family time, is too much. It's prohibitive for some of our residents. And so, we certainly wouldn't want to go down that road for our gymnastics program, which is extremely popular, it seems, and successful with our city. So that's all. Just a couple of comments.
Mark, do you have one more question? Or is your hand just?
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I was simply thinking that really, based on our conversation, and as Sean has pointed out to us many times, we are to advise the council to look into this. That's essentially it, that we feel that there was enough discussion. It would seem to me, based on all of the comments, that we have concerns about laying people off at care and all that sort of stuff, but would it be more efficient, and that it's something that we should probably look into. We know it's a very important program. We all agree with that. We don't want to limit services to our community. We want to take care of people. We want to do all of that stuff, but would it be something that we should explore? Or should we just blindly say, yeah, just do whatever you did? And I don't know. It would seem to me that that's really the conversation we're having. What are we going to recommend to the city, to the council?
Well, to clarify, and I think Sean's going to speak on this, we are not actually making a recommendation here. This is a topic that will come up in front of city council and they will be discussing. So we cannot actually action on this item. Or Sean, maybe you want to clarify that.
That certainly isn't the intent of the discussion this evening. I do just actually was just wanting to clarify Commissioner Bryman's comments. I think I understood them, but he said, they should explore it. And I think that it being referred to was exploring a comparison to, a third party operator. But I just wanted to clarify that that was the intent of your comments there, Commissioner.
Yes, that was, but
Okay.
If we're not here to suggest anything, then why are we even discussing this? I mean, what's the point of us having this discussion if there's no point in the discussion? I don't understand.
I'm glad you bring that up. That's absolutely not an irrelevant statement at all. The city council absolutely will be receiving all of the commentary coming from the commission this evening, including the comments you have made, Commissioner Bryman, and those of the other commissioners for their consideration. And so I think you've offered some very clear feedback as a commissioner for the council to work into their considerations. And again, should the city council choose to direct the staff to go in a particular direction with additional analysis or not, then that's what staff will carry out. And the commission's input is incredibly valuable to that process to help inform their decision.
I misunderstood. I thought we were either to recommend something or not, but I guess they can either listen to the transcript, they can read the transcript or not read the transcript, but the transcript exists.
Yeah, just to be clear, a point of order, this is a regular business item. So, should the commission wants to take a particular action to recommend, a commission can do that with an agendized regular business item. So I just want to be clear that it's not that it's ruled out or anything like that.
Would it be possible for someone to speak to the commission at a later date, just in a very general terms about the differences in the programs that we have offered through the city versus contracted out through third parties? I think, we're talking about gymnastics today, it's on the agenda, and we had public comment that has now gotten us down this road, but it feels a little singling out. We have plenty of other programs that are subsidized, or my understanding at least is that they're subsidized through the city and funded with city dollars, and we're not highlighting those or asking council to reconsider those. It just seems like if we're gonna go down that path, should we be talking about all of the programs that we've decided are important enough to fund through city funds? I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. It sounds like everybody has questions about the differences, and it might be worthwhile to have a discussion about that at a later date.
I agree. I feel that I don't feel like I have enough information on what else is out there in comparison. I feel I was and am a current user of the program here. I know what it looks like. I do know what some private programs look like as well. But I think without staff or any additional comparison or information, or as Dana mentioned, seeing data of results from other programs that have gone through this before, it's hard for us to really make a solid recommendation. So I would be support of something maybe more constitutive coming back that kind of addresses those items that you brought up, Dina. Mark, I want to make sure we're not missing an additional comment from you, or the hand is still raised.
I'm trying to lower my hand and it's not working. Oh, there it is. Thank you.
Well, Sean, just for clarification here, we're not looking to pass anything or make a recommendation. At this point, it was informational, also to hear public comment on this. And then we can come back with some more information post council meeting or post some other work being done on, the comparison of city funded versus outsourcing it to an outside contractor.
Yes, I do want to take this opportunity to really thank the commission here for, I think, a pretty robust discussion and an opportunity also for some robust public commentary to help inform kind of next steps for this process for the city council. And again, you're correct, Madam Chair, that this presentation tonight was following through on city council specific direction to prepare the proposal that was laid out here, but to seek input from the Parks and Recreation Commission and bring it back to council for some further direction. And I think that function was performed quite well tonight. And we've captured all of the commentary that has been brought out tonight, and we'll convey that to the city council. And we certainly will report back to the commission with next steps, probably at the next meeting.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
If there are no other questions, we can move on to the tentative agenda calendar and potential joint meeting with the Library Commission. I believe Assistant Library Director Nick Skada is going to just give us a little background on this as to the rationale for this joint meeting or proposed joint meeting.
Thank you, Vice Chair Baskin. Normally at this point in the meeting, the commission considers placing items on their tentative agenda calendar. At the most recent meeting of the Library Commission discussed holding a joint meeting with the Parks and Rec Commission to discuss some issues that cross over between the two commissions, specifically issues regarding programming at the new MPCC facility. So we just thought we would take a moment here and ask the commission, in the context of discussing agenda items, noticing that the November 24th meeting for the Parks and Rec Commission is scheduled for the day before Thanksgiving, and that might provide an opportunity to have a joint meeting with the Library Commission on their November date, which is the third Monday of the month, and just see if that would be of interest to the Parks and Rec Commission. Then working with both chairs of the Library Commission and the Parks and Rec Commission, developing agenda items for that joint meeting in November that are concerned with programming at the MPCC. It would give the commissions a chance to have a really good discussion about that. It would also give the public a chance to give some input on those issues.
Thank you for the background on that. Before we discuss, is there any public comment on the agenda items or agenda proposal?
If any member of the public would like to make a comment, please raise your hand at this time. Looks like we have one comment. David Earhart, go ahead. You can unmute yourself and address the commission.
Yes, my name is David Earhart. I'm the current chair for the Menlo Park Library Commission, and I just wanted to welcome the opportunity to have a collaboration with the two commissions, with the importance of the MPCC project. Hopefully we can find some time, in November, if that works, for the two commissions to understand how our roles overlap and offer the public a chance to see kind of the unity in terms of the two commissions and the services we provide to the Belhaven area.
Thanks, David. Nice to meet you virtually. Nice to have some synergies between the commissions. I, for one, well, actually, before we finish this, say hello, and then we'll also ask if there's any additional public comment. Sorry, didn't want to be presumptuous.
If anyone else has any public comment on this item, please use that raise hand function now, or *9 if you're a dial-in listener. And I do not see any other public comment on this.
Great. I'd love for us to take some action on this item. I do think it would be, I mean, to me, it looks like an invaluable opportunity for us to work on something together. Seeing how the departments did merge, and this would be an item that would be of interest to both commissions and actionable. So my lean would be that we would indeed use that November meeting. I believe the recommendation was to move it up because it's likely in a yeah, agreed, in an inopportune time just ahead of Thanksgiving there. So I believe the recommended date was November 14th. Is that correct?
That is the third Monday. I'm just double checking here. It's the 15th. November 15th is the third Monday in November, and that's when the Library Commission would be meeting. Correct.
So we would look at November 15th in the evening to have a joint meeting with the Library Commission to, ahead of that, have a proposed agenda that meets both of our needs, but includes that item. So I would be—
That's correct. And I'm sorry, Vice Chair Baskin, I think additionally, if we're able to meet in person, it would be nice to have the joint meeting held in the Belhaven neighborhood, if that's possible.
Okay, great. So that's my comment. Do we have any other comments or on that idea or on the calendar? Mark?
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think it's a great idea.
Great. If we don't have any other comments, would we then call for, I could make a motion. So I will put it. Hi, Mark.
No, I'm seconding. I'm seconding a motion that hasn't been made yet.
No problem. So I will put it out there that the concept here would be to have a joint meeting with the Library Commission on November 5th. So someone could make the motion on November 15th with an agenda to be discussed by both chairs ahead of time and to include both items of interest for us. So Mark, would you like to make the motion?
Yes, I would like to move that we move the meeting to a joint session on Monday, the 15th of November.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. And I'll allow Nick to take a roll call and vote.
Great. The motion is to move the regularly scheduled Parks and Recreation Commission meeting in November from November 24th to November 15th and schedule it as a joint meeting with the Library Commission. Commissioner Diepenbrock, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Joshua, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Payne, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Bryman, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas, how do you vote?
Yes.
And Vice Chair Baskin, how do you vote?
Yes.
The motion passes 6-0.
Excellent. So moving on, we have some informational items.
Sorry, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Baskin. I should bring up that there was one more issue that has come up in the interim period when we were considering the calendar, and that is that Chair Brosnan has asked to step down from her chair position. And so we should probably agendize or add to the agenda in the September meeting, choosing a new chair for the commission.
Yes. I agree. We should add that to the September 22 meeting. And in advance of that, I welcome any of our commissioners, both tenured and not as tenured, to consider the role. Clearly, there are many of us that have been on the commission a number of years and have served in the role, or have seen it work in progress throughout the years, and would be happy to support the chair in any needs or guidance or mentoring needed. So welcome that thought process. And of course, any of us who have been on the commission are open to having a conversation or exploratory discussion on it if anyone has any questions. Would we have to do anything we don't have to vote on that to be added. It's just
No, it's just an informational point.
Okay.
Usually we add things by acclamation. Yeah.
Okay. So next up would be informational items. And these have all been included in the agenda as staff reports. Informational items are transmitted to the Parks and Recreation Commission in staff's effort to provide an update on matters of importance to the commission. Informational items are not action items. However, a commissioner, city staff member, or a member of the public may request to make a comment or ask a question on any of the informational items. The first one will be the Bedwell Bayfront Master Plan update.
This time, if anyone has a public comment they'd like to make on the Bedwell Bayfront Park Master Plan update, please use that raise hand feature on Zoom. Seeing no public comment.
And we also had a city council study session update, the Measure T bond issuance.
On that one, before
go ahead.
public comment, just a little bit more detail, just to report on the action or direction that the city council took, because what was attached was the staff report. Of course, the city council did have that meeting, and what they directed staff to do was to issue bonds for the full amount remaining in Measure T, available for Measure T, which is approximately $14.3 million. And they discussed various technical ways for doing that, but basically issuing them all at once, because issuing them in multiple issuances adds a significant amount of just fees and cost. That approximately $8 million would be directed toward the MPCC project, which is the council's top priority for park and recreation facility improvements. And that is to get to the delta that the city is contributing toward that project, although the bulk of it is being provided by Facebook, who's building the facility. The remaining approximately $5 million after that, the council gave staff direction to basically stick with projects that are currently in the pipeline as identified in the Parks and Recreation Facilities Master Plan. So in the staff report, there are tables that kind of point out what those are. There are a few that are currently in progress right now. The Bedwell Bayfront Park entrance project, the Willow Oaks Park improvement projects, and the Burgess and Willow Oaks Park playground equipment projects. And so, and the thinking there is those projects are already underway in various stages and being funded through some other sources, which are more flexible than Measure T, but eligible for Measure T. So applying Measure T to those projects, thus freeing up those other more flexible sources of funding for other projects in the Parks and Recreation Facilities Master Plan, which Measure T would not be applied toward. And basically to come back to the City Council on the advice of Parks and Recreation Commission as needed to then start going through the Tier 1 projects and identifying those at the time that the bonds are issued. So I just wanted to give you all that update from the council meeting. I saved you for watching the 2-hour tape by giving you that summary.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think it was longer than 2 hours, but there you go.
Thank you.
So if there's anyone who would like to make a public comment on item E2, which is the City Council's study session update, please raise your hand at this time. I see no hands raised.
And up next, we also have the Library and Community Services suggestion box responses. So we have a number of those in the staff report. Do we have any public comment on those?
This time, if you would like to make a comment on the staff report on the suggestion box responses, please use the raised hand function. Seeing none.
And following that, we have the Library and Community Services Strategic Plan Scorecard. Do we have any public comments on that?
Anyone liking to make a comment on item E4, the Library and Community Services Strategic Plan Scorecard? Please use that raise hand function. Seeing no comment.
And this was something we talked about in the previous meeting. I think it's something we can flesh out further, though. The individual commissioner reports, we did not have someone assigned to this month, but we did talk about, just to reiterate, maybe planning together if there's some interest. I know a lot of the different commissioners do have different viewpoints or perspectives or interests. I, for one, love an update and have gotten into pickleball thanks to Peter Diepenbrock's interest in it. So the idea that maybe each commissioner could be responsible for a theme of parks and recreation or an area of interest where they are wholeheartedly interested in that and reporting on that, it kind of maintains some momentum and work and thought process of these different items, so that we feel, I think some of the feedback from past commissioners has been, how do we feel like we're constantly pushing a ball forward? And so, maybe taking interest in something like that would be interesting. So maybe also during the next month for some commissioners to think about what might be an avenue or an item that they have interest of and that they would feel like they'd want to report on ongoing could be something interesting. In the meantime, would any commissioner like to make a short report on something of interest to the commission? That's okay. I didn't want to put anyone on the spot. No one was prepared yet. And are there any other comments or questions on any item?
So sorry, for the reports then, are we still keeping it essentially kind of what it's been in terms of just open-ended for any particular?
Well, the thought really is more to align a commissioner with a passion or interest that they could report on and maybe have it ongoing. This actually was something that was done, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I first joined the commission. More that people got assigned to monthly type of events, but just the idea that it was something almost that the commissioner felt a connection to. And so when I say they were assigned to a month, they would actually pick a month or some events or something that had to do with parks and recreation that they had an interest in. And then they followed through on that throughout the course of the year after year, and kind of were able to develop idea generation or just progress in something that they had interest in. So that's all I was trying to say, was not something would be put upon you, but rather maybe you come up with an idea of like, Dana, I have a passion or an interest about this, and I'd like to follow this for the commission and make it something of interest that you continue to follow.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, if there are no other questions, it is 8:21 and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you,
everybody.
commissioners.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.